Just should mention that today's draw along is one of Derbyshire Wildlife Trust's Ghost of the Landscape events. You can search online to find more out about those. There's an art auction, so you might want to get involved with that. And for the writers among you, there are workshops and writing competitions too for children and adults. But yes, before we get cracking and start to draw, we're going to have a bit of a reminder of Lauren's incredible animation, which you might have seen as part of Sky Dancer Day this year. So let's just sit back and enjoy.
Hidden in the moorlands is a rare, ghostly silver figure with bright yellow eyes. The Hen Harrier. At the beginning of spring, he launches from the heather in a somersaulting and tumbling dance. If this sky dancer is lucky, his display will impress a female and they will couple up to breed. They build a nest amongst the long heather and grass, on which the female can lay between 3 to 5 eggs. The team works together as she incubates their eggs and he hunts to feed them both. After a month, the chicks hatch and are born defenceless with a bit of downy fuzz, relying on their parents to feed and protect them. By early July, the chicks begin to fly the nest, but remain reliant on their parents for a few more weeks. The juveniles then begin to spread out, males finding new territories as far as France, Spain and Portugal, spending the winter in lowland heaths, marshes and farmland. Sadly, not all of the chicks will survive to adulthood and are in danger of being illegally killed once they leave the nest. If they're lucky, 2 springs later, having grown their silvery plumage, the new sky dancers will take to the upland moors and the cycle begins again.
Okay.
Wasn't that absolutely stunning? I absolutely loved that. And it just shows how sort of powerful using animation together with the sound can really tell a story and can really sort of help us to learn really quickly and effectively about the Hen Harrier. But I just love how Lauren shows the passing of a month with that beautiful moon passing, showing that that's actually the time the Hen Harrier is sitting on the nest incubating her chicks. It's so powerful and great fun too. Did you have great fun doing it, Lauren?
I did, yeah, thank you very much. It's quite a simple sort of method doing the stop motion animations. All you have to do is line everything up, then basically take a photo and then move it slightly, take another photo, move it slightly, and that's the gist of it really. So you can be really creative, and it's a really nice opportunity to do loads of drawing and painting and then putting it all together on the computer. And I also learned a lot about Hen Harriers that I didn't know before, doing all the research and everything. And it's just, yeah, it's fun to sort of show it to people who might not really be interested in nature so much, but just be like, look what I made, and then they accidentally learn things. So that's
such a good way, accidentally teaching people stuff. That's the way forward.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, look at this pretty flower, and then it's like, don't do things.
Yeah. Here's what it is, and here's what's important. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no, but it's good.
Well, should we hand over to you then, Lauren? You can.
Yes, exactly. So
sorry,
yeah.
there is a bit of a lag, so apologies in advance. But yes, hand over to you and you can tell us what we need to do and how we can get cracking.
Perfect. Yeah, now we know what a Hen Harrier is. So all we need to start with is a pencil and a rubber. I say a rubber because we're going to draw some shapes in first to guide us, and then we're going to rub them out. So make sure that you don't, press really hard when you're putting in these shapes, or use a pen, because then you might regret it. But you can always have another go. It doesn't matter. Anyone can draw. Just no pressure on it. Just do what you like, really. So we're going to start with the head, and I'm just positioning myself in sort of the top left-hand corner-ish of the page, and I'm just going to draw a kind of a longish rectangle. So just a bit longer than a square, and I'm just being quite sketchy here. Then adding on a couple of semicircle type arcs on the outside. And that is your kind of vague Hen Harrier head shape. Then if you come to the left-hand edge of this semicircle here and just draw a line straight down. So it's going to look a bit weird at the moment, like a ice cream cone.
Oh, it looks a bit like a bug, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mine looks like a robot.
Then I'm going to put the body in. So they've got kind of a long neck, so make sure you leave a bit of a gap between where the body's going to be. And this is like a kind of a largish oval shape.
I think it's a really interesting way of learning to draw, doing these shapes, isn't it? Because you get to sort of understand the shape of the whole animal and where the body sits. So
yeah,
here we are.
It's quite a good way to get to know what it kind of looks like, and you have a go a few times and learn what the shapes are. So right, with this section that we've got done already, we're just going to add a bit of an outline in. So again, just kind of pressing quite lightly, and I'm just going all the way around the shapes, leaving a little tail there, going around. So kind of loosely hugging the shapes. And there you go. There's your bird.
Oh, nice. Taking care. Okay.
Then I'm just going to add in a couple more ovals. So you might be able to guess what these are. Just making sure that they are the same height. So I'm just drawing in a line there just to make sure.
Okay.
Then and it goes all the way down to the bottom of the body, because they've actually got really quite large wings actually. Then just drawing another semicircle here as if we were drawing another oval on the other side.
Right.
And this is, yeah, basically our outline. So just going to add in sort of an area where the legs are going to be. So we're going to do 2 triangles or 2 lines. And they've got kind of fairly long legs. So we're going to add in all the detail in a bit.
Yeah.
Just drawing the other leg behind it. And another stick. And yeah, we'll do the feet in a bit. I'll show you how to do that. So
I'm quite pleased with this actually already.
Yeah.
Wait, so I just leave it now, and so it quick while I'm ahead.
Oh, I've got mine going.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. We want to see all yours as well. If you can, maybe not now, but at some point, share them in Twitter or whatever social media you're using. We'd love to see.
I would really love to see everyone.
Can you actually see anything?
A little bit faint. We're not meant to press too hard though, are we? So
exactly. No, so right now we're going to add in just a couple more lines before we rub out some of these shapes. So the wings are a little bit more square. So I basically just adding on a kind of a corner here and a corner here. Then another one on the other side. And there we go. Now the tail is kind of like vague triangle shape like this.
Can I just have a moment, actually, Lauren? I don't know how you're doing, Jill, but I'm just trying to catch up at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe I'm just being really slow.
No, that's fine.
That's right. Yeah,
I've practiced it a lot, so.
You can really see the shape starting. As you say, when you put those sort of pointy bits on the wings, that's when it really sort of draws it out, isn't it? You really see that that's where it's coming. And then again, I think tails are so difficult. I think whenever I try and draw birds, I always draw the tails far too big. So it's quite interesting to do it this way and see that smaller triangle that you've drawn there. That's
yeah,
cool.
it's good to sketch things out first, because it's hard to move things around once you really start working on it a lot, I find. You also get put off because you're like, oh, I've spent 5 minutes on this already. I don't want to do that again. But often it is just worth starting again, I find. It always turns out better the second time. How are we getting on?
Yeah. I'm getting there, I think. As you can see, I haven't drawn anything, so I'm just making all this up. I'm just going to take a screen grab of what Lauren's drawn on the left and pretend it's mine. That's my plan.
No one knows.
Yeah.
Where's my Ah, yes, look, here's one I drew earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you just did that. You worked so quickly.
I know, that's Donald Watson's book. He was an artist as well as wrote about the Hen Harrier. There's such beautiful illustrations in this book as well.
Really nice. Yeah, I always I'm still not out of the habit of picking up a book and buying it just because it's got nice illustrations in it.
Definitely, and they make such a difference, don't they, actually?
Yeah, really draws you in. Did you work with the artist when you were illustrating for illustrating your books, Jill?
No, it's quite interesting. So for my younger books, my novels don't have illustrations in, but for the sort of younger books, the publishers pair up the writer or they pair them separately, the writer to the work, and then we choose the illustrator. So quite often we don't meet you don't meet the illustrator until much later, which is really strange actually. Sometimes you don't meet them at all.
Like Match.com or something.
Yeah. I mean, some authors know each other, but it's most of the time the publisher sort of chooses the illustrator for the story.
I see. At least they get you the right person.
Yes, and sometimes they've got a real person in mind that they know will match the story. And I know for one of mine, I wrote a series called Willow Wild Thing, and there's a lovely illustrator called Rebecca Bagley, and her illustrations are so sort of quirky and they just fit the story perfectly.
Really.
So I think the publishers often sort of know who to go to just fit that type of story for the audience, because you don't want something that's too dark, I suppose. An illustration the story is quite light and it has to be quite fun. So it's quite an art to choose the right illustrator.
That's really interesting. Yeah, so many different styles as well.
And
you want it to
be so cool.
Yeah. And then the illustrator brings something different. They read something different in your story, and it's so they sort of almost change the story by their illustration. So actually, as an author, it's really lovely to see an illustrator's interpretation of your story. It kind of augments it really. Actually, so it's good fun.
Does it ever look like how you were envisaging it? Like if you're writing, I presume you kind of imagine it in a way, and then how is that when you see someone else's interpretation?
I think each time
does it ever kind of look the same?
Yeah, I think I envisage it more in real life in my head. So when somebody brings it to life as an illustration, it's very different. But it brings a new edge to the whole story, which is lovely. And it's quite fun.
That's really cool.
And if you go into schools and you ask children to illustrate some words, then everybody illustrates things a slightly different way, and that can have a real impact on the way the story comes through. So it's good fun. Nice. People should draw more. People should draw every day. I think it's really
I'm so out of the habit of it. I love drawing, but it's just one of those things that you just think, oh, I'll do it another time, or it just doesn't sort of, I think actually, like tonight, actually finding time. I hope everyone else is enjoying this, having an actual allotted 45 minutes. You don't need to do anything else apart from draw. I think that's great. It should be prescribed in our weekly timetables.
That's such a good idea. I want that. Yeah. No.
What's next then, Lauren?
Yes.
What do we need to do next?
So hopefully everyone's managed to catch up. So yeah, this is basically our basic outline. So what we're going to do is just start rubbing out a few lines. Don't go mad, but so we don't need this square anymore, so that can go. Then I'm just going to take away, just making the lines a little bit lighter, so that we can start colouring it in at some point. So I hope no one's made the mistake of doing it in pen again, like some of my friends do. So yeah, don't worry about too much, and obviously we can work on these as well afterwards if you've got time. So this is our basic outline, and the lovely reference photo that I was using had the Hen Harrier looking off slightly. So because they've got a round face, I'm just drawing in a curve here to kind of guide me, because that's kind of the middle of its face and it's looking to the side, if you see on the one I did earlier. So I've just got that line in to draw, and this is kind of like its neck, or his neck, that's coming round. So people always worry about faces, but it's quite easy really. So we've got the beak, which I'm just going to show you in big up here, is let's say kind of, what kind of shape is this? A Pope hat, which is going to be yellow eventually, with the kind of little beak that just basically curves round like that because it's slightly on an angle. Then you can see its mouth coming like that. His mouth, I should say.
Oh yeah.
And then we're just gonna basically draw the kind of an eyebrows up from that. So I'm just doing this in pencil, obviously, to show you. But that's basic. This up here is what we're gonna do for the face. So because it's small, I thought I would just show you. So now we're going to draw again with the Pope hat.
So we're drawing it a bit halfway down that sort of...
Yeah, so it's about halfway down. You can draw a line across halfway if that helps. Then drawing in
that makes it a little bit more 3D.
Yeah, exactly. Drawing in the little beak. And the mouth. And then we're just going to go for it with some eyebrows. So just drawing an arc up to about halfway again between your own line and the top. And obviously, because it's slightly tilted, the one on the right is going to be smaller than the one on the left. So this is actually a much more, much wider arch, like that.
I might just need a little bit of time just to do
that
in a minute.
No problem.
What do you think? I was trying to think what's the most difficult bit about a bird to draw. And certainly faces can be quite...
that's a good question.
Aren't they? I mean, I was remember trying to draw horses and I could never draw their hooves. And I think with birds, I think it's the beaks. They're these tricky little, aren't they?
They are quite tricky. Especially also I find that if you get the eyes slightly wrong, then they can look really evil or surprised, or you kind of accidentally give them some kind of expression that you're not meaning to. That can be a bit tricky. But I think they've got such nice, big, charismatic faces and really bright yellow eyes and everything like that. It's a really it's a really nice subject to draw.
Yes.
I find feet quite difficult, actually. I can show you how to do them as well after. We're just gonna, people are okay with this so far. I'll show you again in big.
Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna add in the eyes. So again, the one on the left is going to be slightly bigger than the one on the right because it's tilted. So the eyes basically attached to the eyebrows as if you were drawing a cartoon face like that. And then that one's kind of more oblong, and then the one on the left is going to be a bit rounder. So it's going to look quite goofy at the moment, but all will become clear. Then the pupil kind of goes in the middle. And again, this one's going to be slightly rounder. And when we colour it in, just going to make sure to leave a white reflection at the top. And if you put it in the middle in your drawing, it's going to stare right into the eyes of those MPs that we're all sending these drawings to.
Will it follow you around the room if you put it on the stick it up? Will they follow you? Will they?
That's it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put them in on this drawing, on the smaller one. And obviously, if you don't get it right first time, rub it out, try again, and you can work on it more with your coloured pencils as well. So
he's definitely coming to life now as more of a character.
Yeah.
This is cool. I have a question for you, Lauren. How do you, when you're drawing, so I can copy something, but your style is so unique, and it's, you know, you said you had a reference picture that you were looking at. How do you not just make it look like that reference picture? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, if I could, I would. I think that's the answer. Some artists have a really amazing skill to be able to draw, and it just looks exactly like a photograph. And it's, it really, really impressive when you see it. I just don't. So when I see the photo, I'm just kind of drawing what I see. I'm not really thinking any particular way, like I want to draw it in a certain way. That's just seems to be, it's a bit like handwriting or something. That's just kind of the style that comes out of my hand.
That's so nice.
I'm sure that I've picked it up from various places. Like at school, I had a really amazing art teacher up until A level, and he taught me a lot of techniques that really stuck with me, and I felt really inspired by his style as well. I've also, my older brother's a really good artist, and so I'm sure that I've kind of copied the bits and pieces along the way and learnt different techniques which have influenced me. But yeah, I don't think to myself, oh, I'm going to draw this not like it looks in the photo, because it's just how it comes out. So I'm sure you've got your own style as well, but you just don't realise it.
I don't know. But you're still, you know, it looks like a Hen Harrier, and it looks amazing, but it also looks unique, if that makes sense. So that's what I find really impressive.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm not doing all that. I wish I had a better answer.
Stop being so modest.
How are you guys getting on with the face?
Yeah, not too bad.
Mine has got a bit of a funny expression. I'm not quite sure.
Mine's sort of like looking like this. I'll see if I can show you it. Ooh. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite faint though.
Well, that's okay, because we're going to colour it in if we've got time. So, right, if we're all okay with that, we're just going to pop the feet in. So I hope I can do it bigger again if we need to clarify, but
yeah, that was really useful actually.
To start with, we'll just put in kind of like triangles at the bottom of the legs as if it's got flares. Then they've got 3 forward facing toes and 1 facing backwards.
Right.
So from this angle, we can see about 3 on the left foot and his left, and maybe all 4 on the right. So basically, these are just their toes are kind of quite chunky. I'll just draw it big. So the way I'm drawing it face on, the way it attaches to the foot is drawing like a circle, and then the claw is going to come off like that.
Okay.
Then a one at a slightly different angle is going to be the same. So you can draw this kind of circle like toe patch.
Can I just say what you're drawing at the moment? Oh no, it's all right. It was looking a bit rude for a minute.
Quick.
We're all good.
Thanks, Jenny.
Get that claw on.
Oh no. Okay. I'll just be as quick as possible. So this is basically our leg. And we can have a go at drawing that in miniature.
See, I think that's a bit like drawing horses' hooves. I used to draw them standing in grass, so I didn't need to sort of.
I know.
I love that.
Well, if I struggle, then maybe I can draw some heather or something like that.
Yeah.
I love the idea of that, Jill. Either it's in grass or you've got your horses stood in a pond or something. Just
I think heather's quite a good shout.
Yeah.
The reference photo didn't have feet on either, so I had to use
behind heather or something.
It actually was behind heather, yeah. So I had to try and find a different photo of what they actually look like. So I'm just kind of slightly winging it.
And they are these bright yellow, aren't they? With the bright yellow eyes as well. I mean,
yeah, amazing, aren't they?
So impressive.
I can tell you a cool fact about Hen Harrier chicks if you'd like, and their eyes.
Oh yeah,
because they develop the yellow eyes later, and when they're chicks, the females have a really deep brown eye. They look like puppy dog eyes, like a brown spaniel eye, and then the males just have a slightly more smoky grey look to their eye, and that's one of the ways you can tell them apart when they're in the nest. So,
that's interesting.
That is interesting because they must be so hard. I mean, it's almost impossible, otherwise.
Yeah, I think the other way is by weight. Like the females are usually a bit heavier even when they're chicks.
And isn't it true with owls? Because I mean, the hen harriers have got that owl-like face, haven't they? And day hunting owls have got yellow eyes, haven't they? I think.
Oh yes, yeah, you're right. Short-eared owls.
Yeah, so I was thinking the evolution of the hen harriers. That why they've got yellow eyes as well. Whether or not there's something along the lines.
There must be something in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the yellow pigment can do for them. Whether it improves their eyesight in the daytime or something like that.
What's your PhD in, Lauren? Are you studying something about DNA?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, it's called environmental DNA, the method that I'm using, to eDNA. So you might hear that out and about. And it's basically a way that you can track species, anything you like that's got DNA, just by taking a sample of the environment. So like soil or water, you can take a scoop and then run your sample through DNA extraction and PCR, like everyone's had with their COVID tests. So I do PCR, and PCR basically just amplifies DNA that you're looking for in the sample so that you can detect it. So for our COVID tests, they have a target which attaches to the coronavirus, like a specific bit of DNA that's specific to coronavirus, and then it amplifies it loads and loads of times so that then you can see that that DNA is in your sample and you could tell if someone had coronavirus or not. So it's the same thing that I'm looking for Chinese mitten crabs.
What?
They're an invasive species of crab called Chinese mitten crabs. They're really hard to see. They're really well camouflaged.
Do they live in England, in Britain?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're from China and Korea originally, and they're invasive basically all over the world, and no one really knows where they are, and they cause quite a lot of destruction. So that's one way that you can use this method to.
So what part of them is it their sort of the outer skeleton, which is sloughing off, that you're detecting? What part of them are you detecting?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It is things like that. So if they shed, or if any kind of cell that drops off. So when animals breathe out, you get cells from your lungs, from feces or saliva, blood, pollen, anything like that. It's this lot of DNA just kind of floating around. So it's a bit like CSI, but for animals and plants and bacteria.
Wow, gosh.
So you
it's really good fun. I like the mix of doing a bit of lab work and field work and a bit of coding, and it's a really nice mix of things.
So you could use that to see not only how much, if you looked at it over a period of time, how either increasing in biodiversity your habitats got, or decreasing, can you as well?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, so because at the moment you need a different expert for every different type of species you're looking for. So if you were trying to monitor how many butterflies there are in a patch, you'd have to go and get the butterfly expert, and then there's a toad, you need a toad expert, you need all these different people to come and identify these organisms. But if they have had their DNA sequence read before, it ends up in a big library online, and then anyone can go into it and check against it whether they've got that species in their sample. So it's kind of fairly new. It's in sort of the last 10 years or so. It's been used for conservation and things more. So it's quite a lot of method development. But I think you'll see it a lot more now. Now that I've told you, you'll start seeing everywhere. Like, oh, that's what she was on about.
That's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. I'm just going to put the tail in. So just a bit of detail here, and basically after this it's all detail because we've got all the shapes now. So they've got this lovely long tail, and I'm just starting to put in, it's kind of like if you would draw fish scales or something. That's basically it. And then it's the same thing on the wings. So we've got some of these, what do we call them? Oops. They've got some nice thick feathers on the top part, and then at the bottom they kind of are in a bit of a line like this. And they've got those black feathers right at the end of their wings, haven't they, the males? Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder why they have that, because they're very camouflaged everywhere else, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it for display, do you think, for the females?
Must be, mustn't it?
Yeah, must be.
Grey sky or something? I don't know.
Quite a lot of the sort of really beautiful male birds have that kind of pattern, don't they, where they're really attractive because the ladies like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just drawing in these kind of fish scales just anywhere. They're obviously not fish scales, but it's the kind of thing you might draw when you were little. Then on the other side, it's kind of split in two. So this bottom part was all black. And that's basically it. So now I'm just kind of adding in some detail. How are you guys getting on? Have you followed along?
Yeah, mine still looks quite rough. I'm going to have to try and add more detail and make it a bit bolder. I think, like, you're being quite confident with your pencil strokes now.
Yeah, I think I'll get my darker colour, because I've got some nice pencils given to me a while back. They're really nice ones, actually. They've got all slightly pastely, chalky ones, so I'm going to put in those.
That's perfect. Yeah, exactly what you need for this kind of thing. Yeah, I'm being quite pressing down quite hardish now. You can start adding in your colouring pencil soon. And one tip from my art teacher.
Oh yeah.
To when you're colouring in, make the light bits as light as you can and the dark bits as dark as you can.
Oh, okay.
So you know when you take a photo and you might edit it, you increase the contrast.
Yes.
Same kind of thing. It makes it look, makes it really pop more and more 3D and things like that. Because I think some people have a tendency to just kind of colour really lightly, but if you actually start pressing harder, you can also start blending the colouring pencils a bit as well. So when I'm colouring this in, I'm going to imagine that my light is coming from just kind of at the top.
Okay.
Or so I always draw kind of a line, an arrow in just to remind me. Or
that's a good idea.
From slightly on an angle, maybe around there. And then you can start working in all of your darker colours the furthest away from that line. So if you imagine that it's 3D, so we're going to have some shadow underneath the wing. So I'm just going to go for it.
I'm loving these tips. That's really useful.
Yeah. No, it's a good one to remember. I like to press really hard with these. And we've also got our white pencil if we need it, which is really useful for blending.
Oh, good idea.
Because you do a fair bit of drawing, don't you, Jenny?
Well, I don't know. I should do more. I've always liked drawing, but so that's why it's so nice to have an excuse to do it, really. But yeah, I've always been someone who just draws animals and birds all the time. I was back at my parents' recently and found some old drawings, and they are hilarious. They're just there's so much going on as well. Like there's mice talking to squirrels, and there was one, like, I don't know what was in my imagination, and I'd drawn this tiger in a hallway, and there was loads of detail on like a picture that was on the wall and a plant, and then like a woman in a dress. It's like, what is this surreal?
How does your mind
of mine? I could never draw that now, though. I don't think you're kind of bolder as a child, I think.
Yeah.
So I need to be more confident and just, do more drawing.
Exactly. I think a lot of people, especially people who have been into art and then haven't done it for years, get quite nervous about starting again.
Yeah.
I think people
you put pressure on yourself, don't you? Because you think, if I'm going to draw, I better do it really well, and it has to be really good. But you don't have to show anyone. You don't have to put it on the wall. You could just sketch away and draw something just for your own enjoyment, and we kind of forget that, I think.
Definitely. There's no pressure.
I think we should have more sort of art to carry on all through school, because we can see, Lauren, that you're a scientist now by training, but yet you've used your art really effectively in communication of your science. And I think that's what breaks down, isn't it, with science, is scientists can't communicate the importance of their work. But if you can do that way, in a very way to really make the sort of the reader or the watcher understand, then that's a really effective way of communicating.
You've got a good niche there, actually, Lauren, being able to do both those things, like being arty and sciencey.
Yeah, no, it has seemed to be a niche, but the more you talk about it, the more people you find who also have these skills.
Okay.
It seems to be a bit of a personality type, someone who likes science and art. I don't know whether it's interested in detail or something like that, or how things work. I was just going to say that. I've also read about sort of Leonardo da Vinci, that kind of he was a real artist, scientist, everything.
Exactly.
And he said that art was the queen of all sciences because it could communicate knowledge to anyone, basically, whatever your background was. And I thought that was really nice.
That's really cool.
They are, because he did loads of drawing, all of his anatomy drawings and everything that we're all familiar with.
And all the designs of various sort of structures and machines.
Exactly.
I think it used to be much more closely connected. It must just be like a modern myth now that art and science have become more kind of divided, or in our minds anyway, because I don't think it did used to be.
No, exactly. I think people are starting to go back to it a bit now, in schools and things, trying to weave them all together, like having creative assignments in science and things like that, and it really helps you remember facts more as well, I think. Definitely. Yeah.
Because most people are in some way visual, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really common that people would be visual learners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just drawn the eyes, and I've got to say that's just suddenly given it a little expression. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a very good teacher, Lauren.
Oh, good. So I'm glad that you're following it. Okay.
Yeah, no, we're all good here. My eye wasn't. I didn't make one a bit oblong. They're both too much the same shape. So
I'm okay.
That one which is slightly hidden turned away a bit more oblong now.
Yeah.
I can see what I've done wrong there. So,
yeah, it kind of goes against what you might think to make one of them a different shape.
Yeah.
But I think that also gives it a bit of character. See, it's turned out different to the last time I did it.
Yeah. It's good though. I like it. Yeah, mine's quite cartoony.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Made my eye a little bit.
I'm just adding in some kind of, they've got these like wrinkles on their feet.
Yeah.
So I'm just adding those in.
Because Jenny, didn't you start out doing sort of journalism and editorial things? You went away from your art, did you, Jenny?
Yeah. I did. I've always liked English. That was like my kind of subjects, English and art. And then I did English lit at uni, and then went into local journalism. So I worked at the Cambridge News for a good long time, and then like nature had been kind of in the background. I'd always really loved birds as a child, but then came to the RSPB, and now I get to write about birds, which is just like the perfect marriage of all my interests.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways. If you are interested in a sort of career in that sort of I don't know, conservation, there's so many different ways in, aren't there?
Exactly.
English that you've done, through whether or not you've studied a degree, or through interest, or through art. It's everyone's sort of journey is really different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you have a bit of a science background too, don't you, Jill?
Yeah, I did. I studied veterinary science many years ago. So I qualified in 91. So goodness, it's a long time ago. And then the writing sort of took over. I think it was really when my children were really little, and I'd go to the library, would pick out books with them, and I sort of remembered how much I loved reading and how much I loved children's books especially. And so I sort of started writing stories, sending them off to publishers and agents, and getting loads and loads of rejections.
Really?
A whole drawer full of rejections.
Oh, well done for keeping going though.
Yeah, that must have been really tough.
It was quite a long journey, and then I went on a writing course, which really just helped me understand that a little bit like writing is sort of rewriting and editing and shaping your story in a way that we're doing with this Hen Harrier here now. We're shaping it, and that was really the sort of light bulb moment that I had to sort of spend a long time restructuring the story. And then, of course, I wrote about the things that I'm interested in about birds and conservation. So, coming in again at a different angle.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
That's amazing that you've managed to merge your two interests again.
Yeah, I'm not practicing vet at the moment. I wouldn't have time, but my husband is. So I sort of still keep in contact with the veterinary world, and sometimes go and help him and things, which is quite fun still. But I don't have to do the on-calls in the evening, which is also a bit better.
Yeah. It's good that you get to still keep up with it all. And yeah, that's ideal.
Something I've been needing to ask you, Jill, is what are the skulls behind you? I can see some rather interesting looking critters grinning down at us.
We've got a few. I mean, I don't know whether anybody can see this little creature, which is a very interesting creature.
Oh, I think I know what that one is.
Huge orange teeth there.
Ah,
Big skull. It's probably people will think, well, it looks a bit like a rat, and you'd be right that it's rodent family, but it's a lot bigger. And these teeth, I tell you, if this teeth got your finger, you would probably snap your finger, because the big clue is this little beastie can actually gnaw straight through wood, straight through big sticks and branches, and can cut trees down. So you can all guess what this is a
Beaver.
Yeah. And so I've got this actually because I've just written a book on beavers and how beavers are rewilders. They engineer our landscape, don't they? They change landscapes. They dam back rivers, slowing rivers, creating wetlands, so we get greater biodiversity. They're extraordinary. They're extraordinary little beasts which are changing a lot of the face of Britain.
Yeah, I keep seeing stuff about them. I've never actually seen a beaver, but I'm very interested. I can see there's lots going on with beavers at the moment.
I saw them in Germany, actually, where they've been brought back. And I remember somebody once said, oh, no, if you let beavers come back, they just take down the whole trees, you know. And I sort of believed that. I thought, well, this person knows what they're talking about. You know, you can't let them down because they'll just destroy these woods of sort of woodlands around the rivers. And then I saw these beavers in Germany, and I said to the chap there, I said, well, don't they destroy the woodlands? And he absolutely fell about laughing. He said, really? He says they actually help to create woodlands because they coppice and they take down some of the trees, so you get newer, fresher roots coming up, and you get
it's natural woodland management, I guess.
And then I saw them swimming about. That was in Germany, in the north of Germany. I haven't seen them in Britain. And then this other skull here, we've got another skull. This belongs to a creature which used to
that's massive.
used to live in this country 400 years ago, but again we managed to kill them all, so we don't have this beast here. But we do have these beasts that have come back. They've come back to France and the Netherlands and to Spain and to Germany. I think you can perhaps guess with these huge canine teeth
what big teeth you have.
It's the skull of a wolf. So
amazing. That's so cool.
Are they where are they from, those skulls? Do you know as in what country?
I don't know. Actually, this is an American. It's not a European beaver. That's an American beaver. And actually, they're not bone. They're both resin.
I think I work at the Natural History Museum for my PhD, and there's a lot of things that you think are not lots. No, not lots of things, but some of the skeletons are obviously can't be just on show to the public, but they're just as impressive. And you learn a lot from them, and they're exact replicas.
Like Dippy, famous Dippy. It's
exactly
not actual bone, but it's still amazing.
Exactly. It's so impressive to see.
What a cool place to work. Wow.
Yeah. It is really nice.
Do you actually go in there at the moment?
Yeah. I've been going in a little bit, doing some work in the offices, and the labs are there too. The labs are really high tech. They've got robots and things. One of my friends codes to work the robots.
Wow.
And they can do some of your job for you sometimes with all your pipetting and things. So yeah, it's really nice. It's good fun.
I thought you meant the robots with the inside the dinosaurs, like the ones that move. That's
yeah, no, not those.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would
make that happen.
So they've got Hen Harriers have got such this big round flat face, don't they? The same as owls.
So they can hear, I think. It's like you know how barn owls, well, most owls, it's to help, it's almost like a big satellite dish so they can hear.
So interesting, yeah. And they can turn their heads all the way around as well, just like owls.
Can they?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Just from doing some research for the animations, I watched some videos and saw some amazing photographs of basically the head just looks like it's right on backwards.
Oh my god! Well, that is something else I've learned tonight. Great.
And their flight is amazing, isn't it? The sky dancer flight. When I've only seen it on videos, I've never been fortunate to see that sky dancer flight in real life. But it's just so beautiful, isn't it? They slip and they turn. It's incredible. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I would love to see them too. Have you ever seen a hen harrier? Either of you?
I've only seen them once, and that was on the Isle of Arran. And that was just, such exciting. I was looking for them, and there was sort of these bird went above the skyline and then quartered back down low, and it was just amazing. But no, I haven't seen. You must have seen a few, have you, Jenny? No.
Well, only the first one I saw was really, really distant, and I would not have known it was a hen harrier unless someone had told me. And then this year, actually, I saw the hen harrier nest. I saw the chicks being tagged. Well, one of the chicks being tagged at the nest in the Peak District, which was amazing.
Yeah, wow.
And you could see the female, and just like locking eyes with her was just really, really powerful.
Wow.
Yeah, that was cool.
They could be quite aggressive, can't they, when you go to their nests?
Yeah, you've got to be really careful and go in and out, as quick as you possibly can. But they're really sort of fierce, like diligent parents. But yeah, there was only that one nest, unfortunately, in the whole of the Peak District, which you think of like all that moorland. It should be perfect. There should be loads of them, and we should all be seeing them. That's what I always say. It's not like it shouldn't be a sort of exclusive treat, to see a sky dance. It should be just something that's part of the landscape.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad.
I was just rereading just before our session. I was just rereading some of Donald Watson's book. He's talking about the history of the hen harrier and the hen harrier sort of demise, especially in the late sort of 1800s. When it was when gamekeepers were paid and actively encouraged to shoot these birds. And you can see why their numbers dramatically reduced.
I didn't know they used to be paid to do it.
Yes, and there was even, I'll try and find it as we're looking, there's even a quote from one of the landowners who basically encouraged his gamekeepers to do it at the time because they took so much game.
Yeah, fortunately, it's still happening.
Yeah. Yes.
Just a quick tip. I've left a little line where the nose is. I'll show you on the big one again with my pencil, because to make it look shiny. So I basically left like the equivalent of that, and did the same with the yellow. Although I forgot, so I rubbed it a bit out because it's a tiny bit shiny. So just if you leave that white, then it will catch the light.
Okay, cool.
How are you guys getting on with your drawings?
Okay,
I've lost my way a bit with mine. It's it went through a good phase, then a bad phase, then a good phase, and now it's gone in a bad phase again.
It's going to go through a good phase. I've realised I've done my eyes too big. I always do eyes too big. I think I must really they must be the things that really hit me when about.
Yeah, that's all right.
Draw them a bit too big. I don't have I have got yellow. I'm going to add a bit of yellow.
Yeah, I'm just adding in some shading and things. But you can keep going forever, really.
Yeah, it's the details. Adding the little feathery bits just hasn't quite. I don't know. What do I need to do, Lauren? I'll show you it. Everyone can see now if you're feeling not very good about yours. Where is it?
It looks really nice. I'm so impressed.
This bit is a bit weird though.
Maybe you need to just make the tail slightly longer. You see,
yes, I think you're right.
It's got longer bodies, but I mean, it looks fine. It looks great.
Oh,
maybe when you add the legs in, I couldn't quite see the legs with it in faint.
Yes, I've hardly done them at all, actually. Yes, let's do that.
Yes,
a longer tail.
It's trying to do those dark bits, isn't it? And as you say, your teacher said about trying to exactly what you think. So
yeah, the black outline, I think, starts to make it pop out a bit.
Yeah.
So I've got some shadow in underneath where the beak is because of where our light's coming from.
Oh.
And then it's all gets a little bit darker towards the bottom. So you can just put some shadow in there.
Yeah, I've made the whole eyes and beaks stuff too big. I should have made it a bit
smaller. Okay. Mine's not totally accurate anyway. It's a copy of.
I love yours. It's so good. I like the blue tint to it. That's a really nice idea.
Yeah, because they're kind of silvery blue, aren't they? So I've just added in blue kind of around the edges. So I've just gone in just around where where I put some black in, and then kind of left some white just of the paper. And then when you've got time, you can go in with your white pencil and start blending. And that just changes the quality of it a bit, because it fills in all these white holes that you get from the texture of the paper.
Oh yeah, that looks nice.
So it makes it just look a little bit more finesse. And I'm pressing really hard as well. It gives you a bit of a arm workout.
I've added a bit of blue to mine. That's better with adding a bit of blue.
So we're going to make sure we send these to our local MPs as well, with the little jar.
Draw their attention.
Yeah.
And the details we can find on the Hen Harrier Action website, can't we?
Exactly.
Details about draw their attention. And
that's it. Draw their attention.
Tells you how to find your MP's name if you don't know it as well.
I think you've just got to type in your postcode and it'll bring up who it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be really cool to for all these MPs to get a flood of Hen Harrier drawings and realise what great birds they are, and because obviously something needs to happen to improve their fortunes, and
like when you sort of think about, when I was reading in the book, ospreys used to be extinct in this country 100 years ago because of persecution and because of egg collecting, and the efforts through individuals and organisations have really brought the osprey back. We've gone from a breeding pair in 1954 to sort of over 400 breeding pairs.
Oh wow!
Now, and wouldn't it be lovely with the Hen Harrier, which is still undergoing huge persecution? Wouldn't it be lovely if, in another 20 years, the Hen Harrier is fared as well as the osprey? It would just be amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. That's what we're aiming for.
And red kites as well. They've done so well, such a success story. It is possible. That's what I remember.
Yeah. And the white-tailed eagles. I think I saw a tweet that somebody had seen one of them down in Exmoor.
Wow.
White-tailed eagle as they were riding a horse. I was thinking, gosh, that horse was a bit of a shock as it was cantering along. Suddenly, this massive bird flying out of the tree.
That must have been from the.
Massive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're called barn.
Yeah, huge.
Barn doors. Yeah. That would have been a shock.
Oh. Yeah, we saw golden eagles on Arran as well, and
oh wow!
I don't know, and they were absolutely beautiful. Just that they just suddenly sailed over this hillside, and you're suddenly really aware that you're in the presence of this absolutely beautiful, stunning bird of prey. They almost don't seem real because you always long to see them, and then when they're there, they arrive so suddenly, don't they? It's just such an amazing moment.
Incredible. I've only seen one in Australia.
Oh, really?
I don't know what type of eagle it was, but I was in the ocean as well, and it was sunset, and I thought, this is just really cool.
Magic.
I don't think I'll ever forget it. It was great. Well, I think I'm sort of happy with mine now. We'll probably we can all finish ours after the show as well, of course. Spend lots of time on it. Write a big message on it as well. Save our sky dancers.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, shall we wrap up then?
Yeah, how are your drawings? Can I have a look?
I want to see yours, Jill. Oh, that's so good.
Wow.
But the eyes,
that's ace. That's really nice.
Big, and they haven't got them quite. See, yours has got an expression instead of looking up. I think my eyes are too big, but
no, they look really good.
They're all going to be different, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely.
Amazing.
Mine's just like it's also got quite big eyes as well.
It's really sweet.
But yeah, it's still
really
not getting there.
Yours is looking quite sort of
it's a Pokemon. I've drawn a Pokemon basically. Fair enough.
Really good. You know,
thank you so much, Lauren. You've been an excellent teacher, and it was really nice to chat. Actually, I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah, it's a very relaxing evening, actually.
Yeah, that was great. Well, we should all do more drawing and more saving of hen harriers. And yes, great. Exactly. Thank you all at home as well for joining us. It's been really great to have you along. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And yeah, search online for anything that you want to find out more about. And yeah, bye for now.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you very much.